What is new, my Mystic crew? So today I am showing you our local topping Mathmech deck profile. So we didn't come first, we came fourth, but technically that is still a top. We went 3-1 with this deck. I'll be honest with you, I cannot remember the games I played. I know the only game I lost was game 1 against Callum. And then I believe we beat Logan, which was on Branded Dark World. Then we beat Mark on Danger Dark World, but I can't remember game 4, so I do apologise to whoever I played game 4. The videos are up on YouTube already, so go check them out. But this is the deck profile. So starting off with our main starter of the deck, our 3 copies of Firewall Defensor. This card, I absolutely love it. You either play this or the Spirit package, and I much prefer this. Next up we have Firewall Guardian, which, you know, if you're playing this, everyone plays. But then I also run Firewall Phantom in the main deck. Now, not a lot of people are running that, but I am running it purely because I'm running the Silent Conflicts, which we will get to in a little bit. And Phantom as well, if you hard draw the Guardian, it still gives you that search off Defensor, so it just frees up your board a little bit. Moving on, our 1 Mathmech Circular, which is still really good. It is still super consistent at 1. When it first got limited, I did panic, but it definitely is still very playable. Next up, we run 2 copies of Sigma. So, not really much to say on Sigma. It's still one of the better cards to ditch off Circular. It's no longer the best card in my opinion, unless you open Circular. If you don't open Circular, then you want to ditch Nabbler off Circular. Reason why you want to ditch Nabbler off Circular is because if you're doing the Firewall play to get into the Alibertian search the Circular will then dump the Nabbler. Then you activate Alibertian's other effect to bring back the Nabbler, which will then trigger the Circular search, and then you can activate Nabbler's other effect, tributing the Circular to spec out the Diameter and then link them off, which will then give you the Diameter as well as 3 names in the grave for your Superfactorial play. And speaking of Diameter, I am on 2. Some people are running this at 3. I did consider running it at 3, however I want my normal summon to be on Defensor as a rule now, so Diameter is no longer needed as the normal summon. For the extenders, again, we have 2 addition and 2 subtraction, which do the same thing. They are there just to give us an extra body on the board. Then of course we run the 3 parallel exceeds. These are very needed for the deck. They allow you to just extend that further beyond, and this is really what I would use to go into the IP plays as well. Moving on to the hand traps, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Still very good. Branded is obviously very popular in this format, so Ash is great against it. We have our 3 Effect Veilers. I was contemplating moving this to the side, but in all honesty, it is doing work in the main still, so I don't want to lose it just yet. Then we run 2 Ghost Bells, sorry. In all honesty, these were Drolls, but I subbed out the Drolls because, you know, with how the format's shaping up, and especially what people play at my locals, the Ghost Bells just do a little bit more than Drolls. Then of course the 3 Imperms. I think every deck should be having 3 Imperms in it. And then the last sort of hand trappy card is Called by the Grave, which is very self-explanatory. On to our consistency, we have 3 copies of Cynet Mining. Now, I don't play Small World, mainly because I don't have it, but I did have them and I sold them. It does open up a lot of consistency, and if I was going on to play things like Nationals, then maybe I would put it in, but in all honesty, with the build I've gone with, I would struggle to fit them in. Then of course we have our 1 copy of Mathmech Equation, our 1 Cynet Rollback. Now this card is our spicy tech choice. It is very interesting because you just target one of your banished side-verse monsters and special summon it during your main phase. And then if you have 2,000 or less life points, I can banish this card from the graveyard and target 2 of my banished side-verse monsters and add them back to my hand. Now, the reason why I like this is because obviously things like Sigma and Firewall Guardian banish themselves if they leave the field, if they get special summoned. Your opponent could always banish a card, think Kashtira. Or alternatively, if you banish for access code and then it doesn't actually get the OTK that way, because it doesn't say you have to special summon it in defense, so therefore you can special summon where you banish link monsters. I also run Foolish Burial. This is the only card I'm not sure of, so I may cut this. I'm just not sure what. Maybe a third copy of Ghost Spell, maybe something else. I run 2 Super Factorials. Now, most people are running 1. I run 2 just purely and simply because you can't rely on circular searching it anymore. So if I can hard draw into it, fantastic. And then the last card is 2 copies of Silent Conflict. Again, if I can hard draw into this to begin with, then what I can do is do the typical transcode and Heat Soul lock, Heat Soul control, and then with Silent Conflicts as well in the back just to help with that. So that's our main deck. Like I said, we went 3-1 with it. It's still super consistent. I still did really well, and I was really happy with the performance. With the extra deck, we have our 1 fusion monster, which is the Side-verse Druis one. You never summon it. It's literally just there to be sent off from the terahertz. So then we have our 2 copies of Alan Bershon, which is fantastic. And in all honesty as well, if you're going through your plays, you turn 4, turn 5, whatever, and you have that second super factorial, you can always bring back Diameter and one other into a second Alan Bershon, remove them to search anything you may need, but then also gives you a non-negate right there. We run our 1 Laplation, which is always needed. We run 1 Lingeribo, that is for our Firewall defensive play. 1 copy of Splash Mage, which is just our main combat extender. Our G-Golem Crystal Heart to bring back our Transcode Tocket as and when needed. Our Code Tocket Inverted. The reason why I've gone with this one is because if, for argument's sake, my opening hand is Firewall Defensor and Firewall Defensor and Diameter and 1 other card, the only way I'm going to extend is by going Lingeribo with the Defensor, spec out the Firewall Guardian, and then do that play, and then possibly go into the Kotoku Inverted instead, the Alan Bershon at that point, and just do a complete and a link climb instead. That is, I haven't done it yet, but I've got nothing I really want to put in instead of this until Link Disciple comes out. Once that comes out, Kotoku Inverted will be dropped for that. Then we have Update Drama, which is our OTK extender. IP Masquerena, which, like I said, is mainly there for the Parallel Exceeds, just to extend off from them. 1 copy of Transcode Talker. We only really need to run 1 copy because G-Golem Crystal Heart can bring it back. Decode Talker for the alternative play of Heat Soul Control. Access Code Talker, which is our main OTK enabler. This is one that a lot of people don't see coming, is Firewall Dragon. Now, the reason why I have Firewall Dragon is because normally, if I just get the board set up, you would have these linked off pointing to each other, and I would still normally have Alan Bershon on the field just sitting by itself. So if I decide not to do heat soul control, I'll then link the transcode and the Alan Bershon off into the firewall. Because it's then co-linked, I can then bounce a card either on the field or in the graveyard back to the owner's hand. So then that can bounce back our Mathmech Circular from our graveyard back to our hand, so therefore you have that second copy of Circular. And then the last card, of course, is the new boss monster, Terahertz. So this is mainly just to get a second copy of Circular, but these two are our boss monsters for Heat Soul Control or straight up OTK potential. Like I keep saying, the deck does very well for me. I'm moving on to trying out another deck for the time being, but this one is always going to be my main competitive deck. I absolutely love it, and when the new Link monster comes out, we will be testing that out as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But until then, we'll catch you in the next one.